Happy Friday! It is the 6th day of March, 2026. I'm Dan Kuntz, and I am very glad that the work week is almost done. It's been a long one for me. I hope you had a good work week. We're ready to step into the weekend. Pretty quiet weather-wise. Not a lot to talk about for today, tomorrow. Most of Sunday night, things are going to change in a big way. We're going to have some very active weather beginning overnight Sunday night into Monday. Could see some light snow on Monday morning and on Wednesday morning. Things are going to start getting a little unsettled after this very warm weather we've been having. And we're not done with that. We've had 9 consecutive days of our daily high temperature, not only above normal, but well above normal by 8 degrees, 10 degrees above where it should be for this time of the year. We've done it for 9 days in a row. We're going to make it about 12 days in a row before things cool down to where they should be, with rain and snow and the whole 9 yards. Weather details coming up. Lots of news. No surprise there. They're never bored in the newsroom. I can guarantee you that. I know I sit in there. I don't contribute much, but I sit in there. Sports, a Cactus League score you may not believe when we show you that. There are 3, is that correct? I think 3 teams still standing that can win the state championship. After yesterday's quarterfinal round in both Yakima and Spokane, we'll let you know who won, who didn't, and whom they play next. And in the back half of the program, we're going to introduce you to our new sports guy. His name is Kade Calvin. He's a pretty nice guy. Came to us from Pocatello, Idaho. He has Eastern Washington roots, but he's been all over the country. His first day here in the broadcast Metroplex was Tuesday. He came down. We sat down with me yesterday. So we'll get to know Kade, who you'll get to know pretty good because he'll be taking over the sports thing. That's one of the reasons I've been doing sports now for the last, 3 weeks or so. It's not that, it's just extra time, which I don't really have. And speaking of time, don't forget Sunday, you only get 23 hours in the day. Daylight saving. Here we go. Let's go around the valley here, 2 minutes after the hour. Sun's been up for a little over half an hour, 6:31 this morning. Is when the sun made its appearance. It'll go down at 5:53 tonight. 11 hours, 22 minutes. That is 3 minutes and 24 seconds longer than Thursday. So today, sunrise is at 6:31. When we get together on Monday, because of daylight saving, sunrise will be at 7:27. So it'll be dark when this show begins. From our lower Butte camera, not too far from Slide Waters, in the general area anyway. We have 2 cameras on the Chelan Butte, and there it is, Chelan proper. Sun peeking out there. Right now in Chelan, you are at 40 degrees. We're at 45 here in the big city, but it's a little breezy, and that's something we're going to talk about. Quite a bit of wind, especially on Sunday in some areas. It's going to be breezy in Wenatchee, or the valley anyway. Other locations, they're going to see sustained winds at like 40 miles an hour. I kid you not. Stamen Flats looks something like this. There's the mighty Columbia River, big swath of Douglas County. You can actually see almost all the way to the Clocken from that view on Stamen Flats, right along the highway on 97A. Not far from when you have to make your decision if you're heading up 97A on how you're going to get to Chelan, whether you go through the Knapsail Tunnel or take the Navarre Coulee. That's in that general area. And up to Lake Wenatchee, the Two Rivers camera. We call that the Two Rivers camera because the two rivers feed into the top of Lake Wenatchee, the Little Wenatchee and the White River. So a beautiful view of Lake Wenatchee there. Have not used that camera in quite some time. We have a lot of cameras, and sometimes it's really hard to decide which one we want to use. The jet stream is going to dip down. It's over southern British Columbia, but by the time we get to Sunday, the jet stream is going to drop right down to just about the Canadian-Washington border, and that puts us right in the bullseye for some pretty interesting weather. First of all, Sunday afternoon and evening, it's going to be very windy. Waterville Plateau, you're going to get hammered pretty good. Moses Lake, Soap Lake, Freda, Ritzville, you're going to get hammered pretty good on Sunday as far as wind is concerned. It's going to be breezy here, not really windy, but it's going to be plenty windy for most folks in our viewing area. And then things get a little crazy. Again, it starts on Sunday night while you're sleeping on Sunday night, maybe even late Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. That's when the jet stream is going to drop down and put us right where the jet stream, or close to where the jet stream is. And that ushers in stuff like rain in the Wenatchee Valley on Sunday and Sunday night. The snow level Sunday night into Monday is going to dip down to about 1,400 feet. So heads up on that. And the snow level is going to hover right around 1,000 feet Monday night, and Tuesday. So it's just a matter of how much moisture that these systems are packing as they come in and pay us a visit. So get ready for some pretty nice weather for the next 3 days, and then we go in the exact opposite direction as we kick off the first full week in March. From our friends at Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee, it's where comfort, care, and community come together. Clouds today, for the most part, is pretty much what we have right now is what we're going to have all day today. High of about 54, a little breezy, not windy, but a little breezy in some pockets of our viewing area. Slight chance of rain tonight, 44 for the overnight low. Very warm on Saturday. Look at that, a high of 62 degrees. And don't forget, of course, Saturday during the day is Rails and Ales, and then Saturday in the evening hours, Rails and Ales has the actual competition on Orondo Street. They got to truck in all that snow from Mission Ridge. Hope it doesn't melt before they have a chance to do it. Anyway, and then we get to Sunday. Mostly sunny, but later on in the day, we start talking about clouds and some wind and some rain. Most of Sunday, because it's going to be much later in the day because of daylight saving time, it's going to be pretty benign, and then things really change. On Sunday night, snow level dips down to 1,400 feet. Could wake up to some light snow on Monday morning. It'll go away eventually with a high of 47. Best chance of measurable snow in the valley is going to be early Wednesday morning. The Wednesday morning commute, we could have measurable snow here in the big city. We shall see, but as you can see there, things are going to change quite a bit overnight Sunday into Monday. 7 minutes after the hour, 2-minute break, headlines. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
This March, Lake Chelan welcomes food and wine lovers to an unforgettable experience. Taste Chelan. Chelan Valley's top wineries and restaurants create the perfect pairing of fine wines and culinary delights. With 4 weekends to explore, every visit offers something fresh and exciting. From your first sip to the last bite, every moment is a delicious adventure. But don't wait, tickets are selling fast. Visit tastechelan.com today.
Welcome to Mountain Chick Floral, your go-to flower and plant shop in downtown Wenatchee. Explore their wide variety of unusual and fun plants. And when you buy a plant in a container, they'll pot it up for you absolutely free. Birthday or weddings, they'll create the perfect floral arrangement for you. Brighten up your office with fresh blooms delivered to your door or business. Ask about floral subscriptions. Visit Mountain Chick Floral today, where every occasion is a reason to celebrate with flowers.
There are some pockets of light rain right now in our viewing area. It's 45 degrees. Lots of clouds, light rain here and there. Very warm today. Very, very warm for this time of the year on Saturday and then Sunday night, just in time for daylight saving time. Here comes some pretty unsettled weather, and it's going to last most of next week. It's just about 10 minutes after the hour. The Wenatchee man who was arrested early on Tuesday morning for an alleged knife attack on his girlfriend is now facing 3 felony charges, and Douglas County Sheriff's deputies say the assault was captured on a home security video. 32-year-old Mitchell Figueroa Ibarra is accused of confronting the 35-year-old victim outside of her home. This was on 40th Circle Northeast in East Wenatchee, stabbing her multiple times allegedly before family members inside the house had a chance to come to her aid. The assault happened about 2 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Figueroa is accused of then stealing the woman's vehicle to flee from the scene, but he was later arrested after he crashed the car near Ski View Drive. Deputies say when the victim was treated at Confluence Health Hospital, she was found to have wounds to her face, her chest, and her arm that was consistent with a knife attack. On Wednesday, Douglas County prosecutors pressed charges of first-degree assault, vehicle theft, and first-degree robbery, saying Figueroa also stole the woman's purse during the attack. All of those charges have a domestic violence component, which could increase Figueroa's sentence if he is in fact convicted. Investigators are continuing to probe the fatal police shooting outside of Moses Lake that killed a 33-year-old man. The Columbia Basin Investigative Team, that's the multi-agency group that reviews police use of force incidents. They're looking in to the February 16th shooting of Aaron A.J. Amon. 5 Grand County Sheriff's deputies opened fire on Amon after he allegedly emerged from hiding carrying a rifle and refusing police orders to put it down. Deputies say they were seeking to arrest Amon as part of an ongoing investigation, found him hiding in a plastic water storage tank on rural property. They were assisted at the scene by Moses Lake police officers who did not fire their weapons during the incident. All 5 deputies have been placed on administrative leave while the Columbia Basin Investigative Team continues to review the shooting. Staying out in the basin, a 50-year-old Ephrata man was arrested on Wednesday after allegedly vandalizing a home's security cameras and then coming back a couple of days later to burglarize the same home. Back on February 28th, Grant County Sheriff's deputies responded to a burglary in process in the 8800 block of Nepple Road Northeast, that's north of Moses Lake. Police say the suspect was gone when they arrived, but they recovered images of Jeffrey Hughes and his vehicle after he allegedly damaged the cameras. And then on March 3rd, the homeowner said somebody forced their way inside and stole $2,500 worth of hardwood flooring. Deputies found Hughes' car at a home in Ephrata, inside of which were materials matching what was taken. In the burglary, Hughes is being held at the Grant County Jail on suspicion of second-degree burglary, second-degree theft, and third-degree malicious mischief. The Washington State Supreme Court says the Grant County Jail has broad immunity in a lawsuit that was brought by the survivors of an inmate who died from a heroin overdose. Back in 2018, Derek Batten, 34 years old at the time, was detained on DUI and traffic warrants when he took the fatal dose of heroin, which had been smuggled into the jail by another inmate, Jordan Tabeau. Bratton's family sued, saying the jail had a duty to protect Derek and other inmates by keeping drugs out of its facility. The jail argued Washington law protects it from the negligence suit because Batten died in the course of committing a felony. 2 lower courts refused to dismiss the case on those grounds, but yesterday, the Supreme Court, in a 6-3 vote, found in favor of Grant County. The court said that while jailers owe a special duty to care for inmates, the felony defense still applies. The case now has to go back to Grant County Superior Court. Tabeau pleaded guilty to controlled substance homicide in the death of Batten. He is due to be released from the Department of Corrections custody later this year. Chelan County is moving to assist the remote Lake Chelan community of Stehekin after the devastating floods last December. The village of fewer than 100 full-time residents suffered a levee breach and a major washout of Company Creek Road in the winter storms, as well as damage to its landing and its wastewater treatment plant. Last month, Chelan County Commissioners approved $30,000 to study the damage and the work needed to make repairs, including a possible levee repair. Stehekin lies inside the North Cascades National Recreation Area, so repairs would have to also be approved by the National Park Service, which has been pretty slow to commit to the project. Meanwhile, the Seattle Times reports the county has paid more than $500,000 to transport loads of rock to Stehekin by barge for eventual use in fixing the roads or building flood barriers. And Performance Footwear and Outdoor Gear in downtown Wenatchee is for sale. After 5 years, co-owners Ryan Backlund and Troy Rucker are stepping away and positioning the 20-year-old store business for a new chapter. Backlund says the store would thrive under new ownership that's closely tied to the valley because Backlund and Rucker don't live in the valley. They live outside of Chelan County. The 12,000 square foot specialty retail store is listed for $250,000 plus inventory. The two owners purchased the business from another ownership group 5 years ago. That's what's making news on this Friday morning. What made news throughout the course of the day? We'll have it for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock for you traditional viewers of television, or as we like to say in the business, television. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight on YouTube at 5 o'clock. On our homepage about 5 o'clock. Don't forget we stream at ncwlife.com. We're on Roku. We're on Apple TV Plus. We're on that Amazon Fire Sticky, Doohickey, you know, that stuff. We have an email address too, and we use it, news at ncwlife.com. We have your Friday sports in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Fibercrete fireproof safety rooms can be the difference between life and death for you and your family. Typical fireproof safety rooms are 8x8 Fibercrete panels providing a solid sanctuary. Fibercrete safety rooms can be above ground, buried underground, or built within new home construction. Best of all, a safety room by Fibercrete is very affordable. Call 360-770-2088. You owe it to your family to find out more about Fibercrete safety rooms.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether.
We provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
A kitchen that makes mouths water and jaws drop. A bedroom from a dream with a bath from a spa. A walk-in you'd never want to walk out of. A pool like the fountain of youth. And a view that never gets old. When buying or selling a home of the highest standards, it's comforting to be represented by a real estate company with standards to match. Coldwell Banker Global Luxury. Live well with Coldwell.
You build more than projects. You build what communities rely on. When the job site runs on results, put Kubota to work. Backed by expert service and support from your local Kubota dealer. Right now, bring home select Kubota KX Series with 0% financing available or save up to $4,800.
Sports at 18 minutes after the hour. I get it. Most of the Mariners starters that we're familiar with, they are not in Arizona right now. They're playing in the World Baseball Classic representing their respective countries, be it Canada, the United States, the Dominican Republic, Mexico. But when I saw this score, I went, what? What happened here? Check this out. Cactus League Baseball. Padres 27, Mariners 6. What happened? Well, it was very sunny and very windy in Peoria yesterday. The wind was blowing straight out to center field, which is probably why the Padres had 8 home runs and the Mariners dropped a whole bunch of fly balls too. The sun and the wind makes it rather difficult. That's the most that any team has scored in Cactus League play since they started keeping track of these things about 25 years ago. Ugh. Who knows what's going to happen later on today. The Mariners will take on the Rangers in Cactus League action at 12:05. I'm pretty sure the final score won't be 27-6. Yikes. Kraken hockey. Kraken's 5-game winning streak at home came to an end, of course, to St. Louis a couple of days ago. They'll try and start a new streak, but they're going to have a tough time doing it tomorrow night. They take on the Ottawa Senators. The Atlantic Division is considered the best of the National Hockey League, which is why the Senators have a better record than the Kraken, but they're in 6th place in their own division, while the Kraken, who don't have as good a record as Ottawa, are in 4th in the Pacific Division. Something's got to give. We'll find out Saturday night at 7 o'clock on Kong TV. Washington Huskies, good start in the women's basketball tournament in Indianapolis in the Big Ten. They knocked off USC yesterday morning, but now they have the task of taking on the number 1 seeded team UCLA. They'll play at 9 o'clock tomorrow in Indianapolis. In Las Vegas, it's the West Coast Conference Tournament. Wazoo eliminated Seattle 80-58. The Wazoo women are not going to make the NCAA tournament unless they win the West Coast Conference Tournament. They're going to have to do it, or that's about it. They'll take on Pacific today in the quarterfinals at noon on ESPN. Plus, men's college basketball schedule, you don't see Gonzaga there because they don't play until Monday in the West Coast Conference Tournament. But there are games today. Wazoo will take on Portland in the West Coast Conference Tournament at 6 o'clock tonight on ESPN Plus. And Washington and Oregon wrap up the regular season for the Big Ten. That'll be Saturday in Eugene at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. All right, here we go. The Brewster Bears, the girls anyway, their hopes of winning the state championship fell by the wayside. They lost to a very good Reardon team last night in Spokane. The final there was 52-38, so they drop into the consolation bracket. This morning at 10:30, the Lady Bears will take on Northwest Christian. In the girls' State 1B basketball scoreboard, the dream is alive for the Shockers of Waterville-Mansfield. They rolled over Yakima Tribal yesterday in Spokane, 65-51, but Pateras could not stay with the number 1 ranked team, Nia Bay. They got doubled up 55-26. So in the semis, Waterville-Mansfield will take on Garfield-Palouse. Battle of the Hyphens. At 9 o'clock tonight, Pateras is now in the consolation bracket. They will take on Cross Point Christian at quarter after noon later on today. The Zella Leopards are undefeated, number 1. They've won 6 state championships, and they showed why yesterday. Chelan held with them for about half the game, and then Zilla kind of had their way in the second half, and they rolled over the Goats 68-53 in the boys' state 1A tournament. Chelan drops into the consolation bracket. They will take on Annie Wright Academy at 9 o'clock this morning in Yakima. However, Okanagan, go get them, baby. Okanagan is still alive for a state championship. In the boys' state 2B tournament, they beat Tri-Cities Prep 63-54, so they will take on Colfax in the semifinals tonight at 7:15. Amira Cooley Hardline has a chance to take home the state championship trophy. They beat Columbia Adventist in the quarterfinals 80-54. In the semis this afternoon at 5:30, they will take on Tulalip Heritage for a chance to go to the championship on Saturday. And the Wenatchee Wild, they have to win. Basically, they have to win out to have any chance of making the playoffs. They definitely have to win both games this weekend, and they have the tall task of beating the V's. They'll be in Penticton tonight at 7:05, back home at the Town Toyota Center tomorrow at 6 o'clock. For 80s night, a decade I had so much fun in, I don't remember. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. If you're watching online, and we stream, if you're in Ghana and you're watching online, first of all, good evening, and second of all, happy Independence Day in Ghana for that holiday there. It's National Oreo Day. It's National Dentist Day today. It's National Dress Day. It's National Frozen Foods Day. It's National Day of Unplugging, which for me is called the weekend. No internet, no phone stuff. I do other things on weekends. National Dress in Blue Day. But on the first Friday of every March, first Friday of March, it is Employee Appreciation Day. Did a lot of research, and it turns out a lot of employees don't feel real appreciated by their employers. The number 1 complaint is they just don't listen to me. You hired me for a reason. I have some ideas, and the boss says, nah, just do what we tell you to do. That's the other thing I discovered. A lot of people, a lot of employees don't like being told what to do. They just don't. So I found this, and this is a reputable website. I know it's fairly accurate. The employee turnover rate by occupation. If you're in the food services or hotel motel accommodation line of work, the turnover rate is 87%. 87% turnover rate in food services, restaurants, waiters, waitresses, cooks, that kind of deal, and hotel and motel accommodations. That's remarkable. Retail trade, 65% employee turnover rate. Construction, 57% employee turnover rate. Healthcare and social services, a 40% turnover rate. Educational services, teachers, what have you, 25% turnover rate. And federal government has an 18% turnover rate. The top 5 reasons people quit their jobs for another job. Number 5, better work-life balance. Too many hours at the office, not enough at home. Number 4, paid medical benefits. The third biggest reason people quit their jobs for another job, they want to advance in their chosen line of work, and they're stuck where they're at. They know they're not going to go any further up the chain than where they are now. The second biggest reason people quit their job for another job, better work environment. And to the surprise of no one, the number one reason people leave their current job to find another one is they want more money. Happy National Employee Appreciation Day today. We're celebrating with sandwiches from Jimmy John's. Today in history, on one side, 3,000 Mexican soldiers. On the other side, 187 Texas volunteers. Don't like the odds on this one, the Battle of the Alamo. March 6, 1836. I think you all know how this one ended. The siege was 13 days long. They were running out of food. They were running out of ammunition. The Mexicans said, the heck with this, just do it. Frontiersman Davy Crockett killed, Colonel Jim Bowie killed. They were all killed, and the fort was captured. John Wayne made a really expensive and not particularly good movie called The Alamo back in 1963. It's beautifully shot. The cinematography is phenomenal, and the plot is a little weak. It's also the only movie that John Wayne ever directed. The Alamo, the Battle of the Alamo on this date, 1836. The Dred Scott decision, universally condemned as the worst Supreme Court decision ever, and I mean ever, by a long shot. On this date in 1857, Dred Scott was a slave in the South. His owners moved to Wisconsin, where there was no slavery, and then he sued, saying, I'm now a free man because I live in a territory where I cannot be a slave. It went all the way through the system, and on this date in 1857, in a 6-3 vote, the Supreme Court said, essentially, black people are not American citizens and have no rights as far as the federal government is concerned. They were thinking this would put an end to the slavery question once and for all. Instead, all it did is make things a lot worse. And as you imagine, Dred Scott, when he was told he had to go back to being a slave, his heart wasn't really in it. So he actually moved to Pennsylvania and became a porter. He would eventually become a free man, but the great self-inflicted wound of the Supreme Court on this date in 1857. The film that dressmaker Abraham Zapruder shot of the murder of President Kennedy was not seen in public at all, except in a New Orleans courtroom in the late 1960s when it was subpoenaed and shown. Outside of that, it had not been shown in public at all. Almost nobody had actually seen the film. They had seen stills of the movie, of the Zapruder film, but nobody, very, very few people had actually seen the film. And on this date in 1975, 51 years ago today, on a show hosted by Geraldo Rivera called Good Night America, they got a copy of a copy of a copy, and they showed the Zapruder film on national television for the first time. We're going to air a clip, but it does not include, for obvious reasons, the film itself.
It's become very chic among television producers to put a disclaimer at the head of any film. The film you're about to see might be shocking, it might be horrifying, you might not want your kids to watch it. And I think the unfortunate net effect of that is to make more people watch it. Well, I'm telling you right straight out that if you are at all sensitive, if you're at all queasy, then don't watch this film. Just put on the late night movie because this is very heavy. It's the film shot by the Dallas dress manufacturer Abraham Zapruder, and it's the execution of President Kennedy. And Bob and Dick, would you please?
That's the most upsetting thing I've ever seen. We'll talk about it in a minute.
If you actually watch the full video on YouTube, the reaction of the studio audience when they saw the Zapruder film was what everybody else reacted to when they first saw it for the first time. The Zapruder film shown on national TV on this date in 1975. And 39 years ago today, the British ferry, the MS Herald of Free Enterprise, which was, now we've all taken ferries in the Puget Sound area. This ferry was 8 decks. It was a car and passenger ferry, and the ferry service that would go back and forth between Dover and Calais was a free-for-all. It was a competitive private business. And when you're in a competitive private business transporting lots of people from point A to point B, you're going to cut corners and you're going to do stupid things. And on this date, the Herald of Free Enterprise capsizes in about 90 seconds. Not surprisingly, and it was common at the time, it did not have any watertight compartments. It was a ferry, after all. The ship left the harbor with her bow door open. The sea immediately rushed in, and again, in about 90 seconds, the whole thing went down on its side in shallow water. 190 people either drowned or were crushed to death by the cars and the trucks. The immediate cause was the guy who was supposed to close the bow door was instead asleep in his cabin. But the actual cause, as they did the investigation, was the company was negligent and stupid. That's a lot of people. That was in the state in 1987. Birthdays. My opinion, the greatest left-handed pitcher ever in the history of baseball, and he has a claim to maybe be the best pitcher in the history of baseball. Robert Moses Lefty Grove. Guess which hand he threw with. Born in the state in 1900, his statistics are just amazing. 2 times the Triple Crown winner, 8 times he led the American League in wins, 9 times he led the American League in ERA, a stunning achievement. 7 times he led the American League in strikeouts, and of all the pitchers who won at least 300 games, he has the best winning percentage of any 300 winner. Robert Moses Lefty Grove, the best left-handed pitcher of all time, born in the state in 1900. Ed McMahon, we all know him as, of course, Johnny Carson's sidekick on The Tonight Show for 30 years, and the Publishers Clearinghouse, and all the video shows that he did, and the Jerry Lewis Telethon. He was a decorated Marine. He was a pilot, and a damn good one. He flew a total of 85 combat missions and earned 6 air medals during the Korean War. He served his country and served him proud. Ed McMahon was born in the state 103 years ago today. Wes Montgomery also would have been 103 years old today. Just go online, however you consume music, type in Wes Montgomery and enjoy, especially his earlier albums that he did for Riverside Recordings. He had a very unique way of playing the guitar. He grew up with a very large family in a small apartment in Indianapolis, and the apartment had just thin walls, and so he learned to play very softly and very gently with his thumb. And that was the distinct style of Wes Montgomery. The early music is great. The stuff that he did with Verb later on, not so great, but it's still there. And Shaquille O'Neal is 54 years old today. He's got a trophy case that's full of trophies. For Heat and Air, call Alpine Air. For Heat and Air, call Alpine Air. They are our platinum sponsors, and they re-upped for another year. I was glad to hear that. I need the money. Coming up next, a pretty interesting conversation with a new guy you're going to get to know. If you watch this channel at all, you're going to get to know Kade Calvin over, I hope, a long period of time. He is our new sports director and sports editor for not only us, but for our media partner, the Wenatchee World. You're going to meet Kade when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
So this is Goalie. Goalie is 2 years old, so he is still fairly young. He is an extremely affectionate boy, as you can see. He takes handling very, very well. Whether you're holding him, needing to adjust him, he'll even let you take his paw. Basically, as long as you're touching him, he's in his happy place. And we learned earlier that even if you try to play with him, he doesn't care. He wants you. He doesn't want to be played with or anything like that. He just wants lots of touches and loves and rubs. Goalie has one little health condition, so he has little growths in his ears, and because of that, he is deaf. So if you try to call him or any of that, he's not going to pick it up. But if he sees you in his eye line, he goes for it. So his recall, despite him being deaf, is still really, really high. really good. He seems to be a really easygoing guy. He has been with other cats before, so he can integrate pretty well. We don't have any info on him with dogs at this time, but I'm sure if you took it very slow and easy, Goalie is much more of a lover than a fighter, so I'm sure he will acclimate really well. He'd be great as a family cat. We also learned while he's in shelter that he loves children and he loves to be loved by them. He doesn't mind them picking him up and touching him and handling him. As I said before, he really just wants people. He wants a companion, if not companions, so that way everybody can have a turn. And he just wants to love you and get some love in return. He could probably be an indoor-outdoor cat. He does still have all of his claws and teeth and such, but honestly, he's probably going to be a couch surfer. He likes places of comfort and warmth, so he's going to seek out a nice area on your couch that gets sunlight, and he'll wait there for you until you come home to him. He's probably about like 10 to 12 pounds. He's an adult male, so that's kind of typical for his size. So we are now open 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. We are open 12:30 to 6 p.m. So come on down to the shelter and meet Goalie. He would absolutely love to meet you and have you pet him. Or you can check out Goalie's profile on our website, WenatcheeHumane.org.
Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at WenatcheeHumane.org. NCW Life Channel is your local TV station. We believe in being the spotlight and mirror to the communities we serve in North Central Washington. Programming on NCW Life would not be possible without our sponsors. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether.
We provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Apple Valley Honda is bringing the future of driving to you. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue EV. Say goodbye to gas stations and hello to a whisper-quiet ride and zero emissions. The wait is over. Finally, a local option for a quality EV from a brand with a track record of exceptional quality and reliability. Experience the Honda Prologue EV for yourself at family-owned Apple Valley Honda. Stay close to home and visit us at Apple Valley Honda today for the life you live.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. And I'm going to bet, with housing prices where they are these days, we're going to see a return to, or at least a new phenomenon of multi-extended family or extended generational family living. You know, if the average family income was about $57,000 and the average home price being $450,000, I mean, come on, we can't see how new home ownership for a single family is going to be feasible. Extended family members or multiple families sharing a home and mortgage is probably going to become a new trend. Good thing or bad? Well, who knows? I mean, I wouldn't mind if my daughter's family moved in with us in the same house, but my son? This is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and that's my opinion.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units.
You trust the same doctor for your health and the same dentist for your smile. Trust Global Car Care to keep your vehicle running strong. We track your car's history so it gets the right care at the right time. With our 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on parts and labor, you'll drive away with confidence. Global Car Care, your automotive experts. We service all makes and models, but specialize in Sprinter vans, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, and BMW. Call or visit us today.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, your place for fun, food, and friends. Happy hour every day, 2 to 7. Try their brand new menu and famous prime rib every Saturday night. Planning a celebration? Book your holiday party, wedding, or private event, even in their exclusive simulator rooms. Highlander Golf Course and Grill, where every day is a celebration. Visit today.
Welcome back to the program for the sports department here at the NCW Life Channel and our media partner at the Wenatchee World. There's a new sports sheriff in town. He's a straight shooting son of a gun. His name is Kade Calvin, and you're going to see Kade all over the darn place in the not too distant future as we transition from winter sports to spring sports. First of all, welcome to the big city. And your impressions of Wenatchee so far. How long have you been in town? What, 10 days, maybe a week?
Not even a week yet, Dan. And first of all, thank you for having me here. And it's really warm here, a lot warmer than where I came from. I came from East Idaho, Pocatello specifically. There's snow on the ground here. You said it's one of the warmest winters, if not the warmest winter we've ever had here. So just in time, I guess, for some really good weather here so far. And everyone's very nice so far, and it's been great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to live, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm originally from Washington State. As you know, Tri-Cities, a little bit different, a little more deserty area. This is a little closer to Seattle, but yeah, one of the more beautiful areas. Kind of an underrated area, I'd say Wenatchee Valley is.
Well, people are finding us. Trust me on that. This place has been exploding over the last 25 or 30 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pocatello is like a mile high? Is that like thin air up there?
Yeah, Intermountain region. It's about 2.5 hours north of Salt Lake City. The locals joke that it's North Utah. So a lot of the same culture, a lot of the same, everybody's into skiing, type of that stuff. So a lot of winter sports. And yeah, it is definitely, the air is different. Just going on a normal hike, I was out of breath just walking around. So you got to get used to it. So it's a lot different than here.
Well, the Columbia River, where it flows through the Wenatchee, East Wenatchee Valley proper, is about 600 feet above sea level. You'll get used to that real quick.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So shouldn't be a problem.
Your backstory is pretty fascinating. But before we get into that, how did the NCW Life Channel and the Wenatchee World end up on your radar as Eric announced that he would be leaving us in February, and we knew we were going to need a new sports guy? How did this marriage come about?
Well, it's kind of funny because my contract was coming up with my station in Pocatello there. I was looking for a new opportunity, applying to several different places, as you do, right, as a sports person, just trying to keep going up that ladder, right, to find a new opportunity to kind of get a step up. And I saw this online posted on one of the job ad boards, one that I don't normally look at, not one of the more popular ones that you're all thinking about at home, probably, one of the more unknown ones. And I just saw the email, and I thought, heck, what the heck, I'll email Rick there. And I sent him my resume and my cover letter and, my reel, and just said that, I'm from close to this area. I grew up watching a lot of these teams that you guys are passionate about here, and so I just threw kind of my hat into the ring, so to say. He called me the next day, and then things just went from there, and here we are. Now I'm sitting in the studio here with you.
So it was, I mean, I'm assuming you still have family in Eastern Washington, Tri-Cities? That must have played a role too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My best childhood friend is in Richland, Washington. My mom lives in Pomeroy, which you're familiar with. Go Pomeroy Pirates, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've got an uncle in Yakima, so I do have deep ties to the area. My grandma and grandpa moved here from the Arkansas, Missouri, or Missouri, as she said it, area back in the day when they were younger, and went to Tri-Cities and just never left. So we're Eastern Washington to the core kind of thing. So yeah, I know it as home basically. So, and like I said, it's only about 2 hours from here, I believe, Tri-Cities. So not
2.5. Depends who's driving.
Yeah, depends who's driving. Yeah. So maybe if I'm driving, it's 2. Maybe if you're driving, it's 2.5. A little more responsible there. But yeah, or if we're taking the NCW Life helicopter, of course.
Yeah. Chopper 12 is what we call
or your Lamborghini. Yeah, whichever one we decide on. Yeah, but
it is capital request time. When you were a kid growing up in Richland, was there any particular epiphany that said, I think I want to do sports on television? How did that develop?
Well, it's funny because when you're thinking about, when you're in high school and you're thinking about what am I going to do in college, right? It's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to study? And I was always a fan of sports. I was always a fan of storytelling. It's what gravitated me towards things like professional wrestling, right? It's athletics, it's theater, it's everything all in one. And there's no better drama than sports drama, as you know. Like, you know, storylines within the game, you know, Phillip Rivers coming back out of retirement to play for the Colts one more time. You can't write anything like that. People would throw that script away if it was a straight to DVD for Disney, right? So there's no better drama, there's no better passion for sports. So I wanted to combine the two, and I was like, why not sports journalism? So, and I found that I kind of have a knack for it because I love sports. I'm very passionate about it, so I consider myself a student of the game, of all the games. So I try to learn about as much as I can, and just putting together a story from A to Z, whether it be through video or writing, is just a very fun project for me, and it's not even work for me.
What's the old adage in this line of work is, here's the score, but that's not the story.
Exactly.
Yes, this was the final score, but here's how the final score came to be.
Exactly.
That's the key.
Exactly. And it's one of those things, it's a cliche, you know, you see on all the job postings for sports reporter. We want someone who goes beyond the highlights, who goes beyond the scoreboard. And it's almost like a goofy cliche at this point, but it is true. You want someone who doesn't just read scoreboards. You want to know how this player scored, right? How this player scored the touchdown, what the player's doing outside of the sport maybe. There's a storyline going on there, right? Like if I've got a basketball game, one that happened recently when I was in East Idaho, there was a power forward who had a dunk. He's going to Boise State to play football. Throw that in there maybe, because people are going to know him for that, right? Just the little nuggets and things. I think if you know, I kind of think of it as like knowing the characters within the story there, right? Like all the athletes, the coaches, the ADs, they're all kind of characters and they're all on my radar, so I know them, right? And so I can give you just nuggets beyond just, you know, Team A beat Team B 47-32, because most people can do that, but it's when you put those stories together, I think that's what pulls people in as viewers and as readers.
As a sports department, yes, we'll be covering the Mariners come summertime, and the Seahawks and the Kraken, the big professional sports here in the Pacific Northwest. Huskies, Cougars, Gonzaga basketball. That's not going to change. But what we're really going to be emphasizing, and we have been for years anyway, it's really our bread and butter in the sports department, is the local high school sports scene, because that's really where it's at, and that's where you're going to be spending a great deal of your time and energy doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of my favorite things to do in East Idaho and Western Wyoming when I was covering sports there, is just grabbing a camera and going out there, grabbing the tripod, the microphone, whatever, going out there interviewing players, interviewing coaches, getting the highlights, and feeling the energy of the games, you know? Like, I think that's what you got to do. You got to go there. You got to feel the student section. You got to feel the fans. You got to see, was that a hard foul in person? Was it this? Was it that? Because just, you know, having like a score or something like that, that's all fine and dandy. But when you get the highlights and you put the viewer there on the baseline, on the sideline, in the end zone, in the action, I think that's really what drives the sports department.
I suppose the biggest difference, the biggest change you're going to have to make is is there's a lot more high schools in North Central Washington than there probably was in Pocatello. I honestly don't know, but big schools, Wenatchee, Eastmont, Moses Lake, all the way down to the 1B schools that they all deserve some love.
Yep.
And there's a lot of high schools you're going to have to cover. So.
And that was one thing I tried to do when I was in Pocatello. You know, the Pocatello, Idaho Falls, Jackson, Wyoming market. So we had a wide range there, and so I tried to give equal love to not just the big schools right there, but the smaller schools too. The ones that are really appreciative when you show up and you go to do a story there, or you bring the camera to do the highlights, because they're not used to as much as the publicity, as you would say, right? So you got to spread the love, and you got to get all those smaller schools and find the stories that aren't necessarily like just kind of spoon-fed to you kind of deal.
You went to college in San Antonio. Your first job was in Maine.
Yep.
Then you went to Idaho.
Yep.
And now you're back home in Washington State. That's quite the you're quite the globetrotter.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I like to see different areas, meet different people. I started at San Antonio College, editor of the sports department for the paper there, of course, right? Got my 2-year degree there. Then I went to Rutgers to finish my 4-year degree. Learned under the great Professor Steve Miller there, not of the Steve Miller Band, of course, though.
Of course not.
Yeah, of course, different guy, but yeah, great professor for journalism. Learned under him, and at Rutgers in New Brunswick, New Jersey, had an internship for Jersey Sporting News during COVID, which was tough.
Nice time.
So I'm watching games on TV and writing about it. So I didn't get a lot of hands-on with the camera until I got to Maine, and I got those reps as a general assignment reporter, got the job as the weekend anchor there, got a lot of reps behind the desk, moved back to Washington, got the job in Idaho, 2 years as a full-time sports guy there, which really helped me tenfold to kind of get different tastes of different sports, you know, not just high school, but D1 college, the Idaho State Bengals are there. Semi-pro soccer is big there. Semi-pro football is big there. And it's a big skiing town, big snowboarding town. A lot of Olympians from the area. Jalen Koff from the Jackson, Wyoming area in the Olympics right now. So a lot of different great athletes there, and I got a lot of taste of different things. And like you said, I've been all over the country. And it's been nice. I've been to Texas, I've been to Maine, I've been to New Jersey. My dog Bruce and I, we drove from Maine back to Washington State, which was one heck of a drive, but fun nonetheless. And I think that kind of helped me meeting different people, learning different styles throughout my journey.
Did the fact that you like to do outdoor stuff, I know that you like to camp and you like to hike and you like to be outside, regardless of the weather situation, was that a selling point? Because that's one of the biggest selling points for professionals coming to the Wenatchee Valley, is it's just so damn beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. You know, like it, and I already knew. I'd been to Wenatchee maybe a couple times. It's funny because I grew up in Eastern Washington. Well, I've been to Wenatchee a couple times. Been to Seattle to go to a Mariners game or to Seahawks game or anything like that. So I came to Wenatchee, played a football game here years and years ago. So I knew the area a little bit. I knew it was pretty, but I have a cousin who's in Kelso, and she's like, well, you got to go there for the outdoors experience, if nothing else. She's like, it's right by all these beautiful areas, you know, you're going to love it there. And she knows that I love camping and hiking. So it definitely was a big selling point for me beyond the attractive job offer.
What year were you on the Richland Bombers, I suppose? Or
no, I was actually homeschooled until I was about 16. Then I went to Centennial Job Corps, got my GED welding certificate there. So a little bit of a different path once again. So yeah.
Gotcha.
But I do have plenty of friends and family, and they're all Richland Bombers. So
of course
I don't want to say the wrong thing on TV here, you know. So they gotta say go Richland.
Who, by the way, is undefeated, but is the number 2 seed.
Yeah, interesting.
In the 4A tournament, even though they haven't lost a game all year.
Yeah, so. Max Preps, right? Well,
no, they have in Washington State, the WIA has a mathematical formula, and then they actually have a seeding committee. That sits down and does it.
That's different than where I came from.
Yeah, so they actually have a bunch of experts who do exactly this, follow high school basketball, and they use the RPI as their base, but it's not the be-all, end-all. Then they actually get together and they talk about it a lot, and then they decide this is seed 1 through 16, and Richland ended up with a number 2 seed, which is fine. They're still gonna. I think they're still gonna make the finals.
I'm guessing they base a lot of that on strength of schedule, stuff like that. So in Idaho, they do a lot of things off of Max Preps, which I don't fully agree with, because Max Preps isn't always right, but that's a whole nother story. So
You need a place to live, so if you have
if you've got a basement, and you want to house a sports reporter,
he'll take it. He'll take it indeed. What are you looking forward to the most? I mean, we're right now in that transition period, as we talked about, especially when we're addressing high school sports. We're in that transition period. Spring sports doesn't kick into full gear until mid-March, and then it's right through to the end of May. So you're going to be getting there pretty wet. Is there any particular thing that you're looking forward to, or is it just let me find my way around, let me find out which way the one-ways, and how do I get to the restaurants and things like that until you get settled in a little bit?
I don't want to point out one sport because I'll be honest, it sounds cliche, but I kind of love covering them all in their own way, right? Like baseball's fun. You go out there, it's like the weather's getting warmer. You hear there's nothing like that crack of the bat on the ball there. But football, Friday night football, nothing more exciting than that for high school. Basketball, you have the student section going crazy. So I'm kind of looking forward to it all, to be quite honest with you. So I can't pick out one sport in particular that I'm more excited for.
Well, we're excited to have you on board, and I'm a phone call away. We sit about 20 feet from each other. So
pulling the curtain back a little bit there.
You know when to find me. Kate will be anchoring the evening sportscast here on the NCAA Live channel. You'll be out and about with your camera. You'll be doing some play-by-play for some spring sports. We've talked about that. So you're not going to be bored, my friend.
I'm not going to leave the building unless they let me out to do sports. I'm going to live here and live on the field, basically. That's where I'm going to be.
If you coach high school sports or you're a high school athletic director, you'll be hearing from Mr. Calvin in the not-too-distant future. Fill up that Rolodex, my friend, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you,
Looking
Dan.
forward to working with you.
Appreciate it.
All right. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
News, weather, and sports. It's all here weekdays at 5, 6, and 10 on your local news source, the NCW Live channel.
For over 35 years, the Sangster family has been not only representing GMC, but the entire community.
As one of the few family-owned dealerships in Washington, you can count on our personal integrity, which has spanned over 3 generations, to ensure your satisfaction.
Sangster Motors stands behind everything we sell, from GMC professional-grade products and service from a professional-grade dealership.
Remember, caring about your family is what brings you back to ours.
Whether you're a new homeowner or looking to update, Save Mart in Wenatchee has everything you need. From top-of-the-line appliances to comfy mattresses and stunning furniture that fits your style, they have it all under one roof. With great deals and expert customer service, you'll find the perfect pieces for your space and your budget. Save Mart, your local destination for quality appliances, mattresses, and furniture at prices you'll love.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCW Life. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCW Live channel.
High clouds, a little blue, some blue sky out there. 43 degrees, the weather over the next, basically today, tomorrow, and most of Sunday is not going to be much except unseasonably warm. We've had 9 consecutive days now of our daily high temperature being well above normal. We're going to stretch that to 12 days in a row, maybe even 13 or 14, but things are going to start changing come Sunday. The first event's going to be some gusty winds Sunday afternoon and evening. The jet stream is currently over British Columbia, but it's going to slide down right at the border between British Columbia and Washington State. And because it's the jet stream, that's close enough to us to pick up the wind. So out in the Columbia Basin, Moses Lake, Ephrata, Soap Lake, out into Ritzville, you're going to be very windy Sunday afternoon and evening. The Waterville Plateau, which is prone to wind anyway. Down in the valley here on Sunday, we're going to be more breezy than windy, but everybody is going to be affected by what's going to happen starting late Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. That's when the jet stream drops down and starts feeding us all kinds of weather. Best chance for snow in the valley is going to be early Monday morning, maybe affecting the commute, and then again early Wednesday morning as the snow level is going to drop down to about 1,400 feet. It's going to kind of stay there. By the way, lots of snow in the Cascades. I haven't mentioned that yet. The Cascades are going to get a lot of snow. They need it. The snowpack is about half as where it should be. They got a lot of catching up to do. Lots of clouds today, a couple of raindrops, high of 54. Chance of rain tonight's at about 30%, 44 for the overnight low. Tomorrow is rails and ales, and it's going to be downright mild. Borderline warm for rails and ales tomorrow in downtown Wenatchee. Also windy at times, too, with a high of 62. Sunday, not bad until we get late in the day. Don't forget daylight saving. So it'll be a later sunset and a later sunrise and a later sunset. And then things go cattywampus. Speaking of cattywampus, we'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.